Anyway, would like to share some things with you that maybe we could work together and get accomplished. One of them is that we have a strong feeling that there's a need for the churches to be open 24/7. Why do we have this feeling? First of all, many things cannot be proven, but sometimes we just know or have a feeling or have a sense about something, and that's what many seem to have right now. And that is a feeling that there's a need for a space or spaces to be open to the public without question 24/7. Those places should be called places of sanctuary, or could be called places of sanctuary, places where people can get off the street, talk to one another, minister to one another, and probably even, spend the night, whatever. So that would be one of the first purposes, just for the safety of our fellows, our brothers and sisters that are less fortunate. And some of us believe that would be proper use of the things that we say we acquire in the name of God. For instance, buildings, money. If it's His money, if they're His buildings, then there shouldn't be a problem. The other thing to consider is the fact that of the liability. People would say, well, yeah, that guy's stupid, he doesn't even consider liability. Well, first of all, the liability I look at is the cross. If it cost me my home, it still hasn't cost me my life. If it cost me my things, it still hasn't cost me my life. I still haven't shed blood for the sake of the poor. I still haven't followed Jesus 100% until I've followed Him 100%. And that would include being inconvenienced. He said to pick up the implement of death, or consider yourself dead to yourself daily. When you pick up your cross, electric chair, lethal injection, whatever, to remind you that it's not your life, it's somebody else's life. It belongs to God. It's hidden with God in Christ. It belongs to your neighbor. We owe him love, unconditional love. When we consider liability, if you're worried about something that you might lose, that may not be a legitimate point of reference. Follow me? When you consider the fact that we should have nothing to lose. Secondly, there's also the thought of the liability of the stuff, the nouns we have inside the church that we don't want somebody to mess with or touch, or it's of most important that all the settings be set right on the PA system, and that people don't fool with it. So they come in, the poor people come in, they're going to steal it, right? Because poor people steal. Do they? Some do, I would imagine. I imagine some rich people steal. I imagine some of you steal. No? Anyway, so we got those two problems. We got the problem of the liability, that if somebody gets hurt and they decide to sue us, one of us could lose our house or something. But, I bet, just in the back of my head, I got a funny feeling that possibly churches are incorporated in some way or another, so they don't have to lose their personal stuff. If the greater corporation takes a little dip or dive or whatever you want to call it, or it gets sued. So we're protected, or somebody's protected. I'm not protected. I don't really care, but that's a liability to be considered. The other side of personal liability that I believe we should be concerned with, and that's if we're responsible for damaging another human being, we need to take responsibility for that, whether it costs money to pay doctor bills or time to spend with that person after he went through some kind of tragedy where we were concerned. Our personal responsibility towards our brothers and sisters is that they be safe, and we don't fool them about the fact that they're safe, that we actually assure them and work for their safety. And then there's another problem that could come up, and that's the problem of urinating and crapping in corners, on sidewalks, and wherever else. Well, yeah, that's true. When you're on the streets, because I voluntarily went and did it, and finding a place to take a dump is a tough deal at times, Or you got to pee, and you just got to pee, and there's nowhere to pee. What do? Well, you can pee your pants, you can pee on the ground, you can, I don't know, where did they pee before they had toilets? I know God told those people when they go to war to carry a little shovel so they could bury it. So there must not be anything wrong with, dumping the dirt, and just bury it. Kick some dirt over it. Bury it deep enough the next guy don't step in it. But anyway, that always seems to be a problem. But let me assure you that if you open things up for people to use, that there's no reason that homeless people, poor people, cannot treat them the same as we do. In opening up the church, because we've done that, we've opened it and left it open to the public 24/7, and they take care of it. The people that are going to use it are going to take care of it. Why should you take care of it and they wouldn't? If they know they have an interest in it, if they know that they have some kind of say in what goes on, and they're able to use some of the spaces, they will take care of it. In the 80s, early 90s, we had about 200 homeless people living in the church on San Juan Road. And I would say probably 60 of them slept in the pews, 50 to 60 slept in the pews, another 100 of them slept in the fellowship hall, and whoever was left slept in their cars and in campers. And in the morning when I would show up, it would look like nobody had ever been in the church, because homeless people can actually get up, roll their stuff up, put it in another place, vacuum the floor, and be out of there by 7:30, 8 o'clock, on the way to work, on the way to the street, wherever they happen to be going that day. So I think you'll find that most of the straw men that we set up, most of the what-ifs, rarely become realities. They're just, I remember sitting talking with pastors years ago about the problem of homelessness and the poor and the church's responsibility towards them. Actually, the people of God's responsibility towards them. And every time a solution would come along, it always ended up being the insurance will cost too much, or this will cost too much, or that will cost too much. Well, a better approach would be to just do it and trust God for the rest of that. I know maybe there's a reason that in the late 80s, early 90s, we did this for like 10 years, I think, or 9 years, and it was a blessing. The church grows. Of course, it doesn't grow with people that can give a lot of money, but it grows. And people that can give a lot of money do stop by and drop checks off every now and then. And money never was the issue, never is the issue, never will be the issue. If you've got it and you can share it and help, that's fine. If you don't, then just show up and enjoy, whatever. But the thing is, when you grow a church with the least, the poor, those that have fallen through the cracks, you're not doing it for the money. If you think you're starting a small business, get over it. You're not. What you're doing is you're laying down your life for the sake of our brothers, and you're leading other people to do that with you. And that is the gospel. The concern of the gospel of the poor in spirit, the broken-hearted, the thirsty, the hungry, the weak, the meek, the lowly. And we've turned it around here in America and made the church become a thing of power, of political power, of societal power, if that's the right word. I mean, where we actually have some kind of suck in whatever city we're in, or whatever. But a lot of times, it's not really what. A lot of times it's us chasing ego or wanting to do something big or whatever. But I don't think anybody doesn't want to be involved in something big. Except maybe, I don't know, my wife would, Gloria. She doesn't like large, big things. And I like large, big, fast things. And, that. But when we're talking about people, we're not talking about what I like or what you like. We're talking about what God wants. He wants us to restore all things to Himself. He wants us to be laying down your life, begging, pleading with people on the behalf of Christ that they be reconciled to God, knowing that the Lamb will lay down with the Lion, knowing that in the light, darkness cannot be, because light dispels darkness, knowing that soon everything will be light, everything will be brought to the light, and you can do whatever you want to do as long as you're willing to do it in the light, in front of everybody, with the spotlight on. And so you can be doing your little, judgmental, racist thing sitting right next to me, and you'll look like a sore thumb that just got hit by a hammer, pulsating with this this residual junk that comes flowing. I don't even know what it'll look like, but it'll be there because the light will be on it. And it'll be, God doesn't have as many nukes as the United States. Oh, well, maybe he does, since we may in fact be his primary weapon on earth, as some would say. But anyway, forget that. The churches need to be open 24/7. I have a funny feeling that the tweakers are going to get rolled up by the cops with no questions asked, and they're just going to be taken away. There's going to come a time when they say, okay, we've poisoned these guys enough with drugs, we've let them have their way, roll them up, put them all away. Whatever. Maybe they'll put us in those cages where they want to put the gay people because they can't reproduce, and however that thinking went. Oh, by the way, human life loses value with sexual orientation, from what I can see. And human life loses value with, but we know that sexual orientation causes your life to lose value. We know that being an Iraqi citizen causes your life to lose value. And we know that being anywhere but America causes you to be lesser than. I think. Help me with that one. Get some feedback going here. I'm just throwing some ideas out. If you want to talk about them, fine. If you don't, then you won't. How's that? I'll just talk to you. You can listen if you. But please, talk back. Say, hey, you're an idiot, Bill, because you think that just everything's going to be fine and people are going to love each other and blah, 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 blah. Well, not only do I think that, that apparently is God's plan for us. Did you get that? That's his plan for us. And in fact, Jesus Christ died on the cross not so much to appease our Father. Well, I go kill my son, and then I'll be happy about sin. No, he died to represent the effects that our sin have on people, the guilt that we carry for doing it. He took all the punishment for us right there. And the punishment wasn't necessarily to appease the Father as much as it was to release us from guilt and the other party from suffering, and to bring reconciliation and peace and restoration to the earth. Because how else could you go up to someone and say, I'm sorry, I murdered your son? And they say, so am I, now justice has to be done. And we can say, well, justice was done at the cross. Justice was done at the cross. And that's as far as it needs to go, I think. And you lock them up in prison because you can make a couple bucks off them, but whatever. But forgiveness is key. It's major. Mercy, compassion. Mercy and compassion. So the church needs to be the sanctuary where these people can go, because there's not going to be any mercy from the lost.